Alright, so in the integrated reasoning section, as you know that this is a new section that has been introduced in the GMAT from the 5th of June, and people taking the test have been reporting the section to be pretty straightforward and easy, not much difficulty. So just let's understand the overall idea about this section. This could be your first or second section. So it could be integrated reasoning essay or essay and integrated reasoning. Usually 99% case it will be the first section itself. Has got 12 questions to be done in 30 minutes. So fairly very easy to finish this because the number of questions you can very clearly see. Out of which it is assumed that some questions are going to be experimental. Your grade that will come will be between 1 and 8 points with 1 point increment. It is not certain right now because the GMAT itself does not have enough data to say which is a good grade, because they will say okay, these many percentiles ranks would be good, but to gather that percentile at least 50,000 to 1 lakh people should have taken the test in the new format. So right now we don't know what is a good grade here. It could be 5 out of 8 maybe, it could be 6 out of 8, it could be 4 out of 8. Nobody really knows how many marks or what grade out of 8 you should get in this. And till the time it is not announced, we should just believe that 5, 6 out of 8 should be the minimum grade that we are looking for. More or less you can assume that 4 questions will not count, okay, out of 12. So 8 questions that count will make a score of 8. Depending on whether you get 1 right or 2 right, your grade will be 1, 2, 3. It is absolutely linear in nature, not adaptive. That means the 12 questions that you will get will be pre-decided. And a lot of test takers may get the same questions. On the same day, almost everyone may get the same question, so it's pre-decided basically and not so randomized. Your 200 to 800 score range of GMAT actual score as we consider is independent of integrated reasoning and is independent of essay. This will depend only on quant and verbal. So in terms of core scoring, there is hardly any change. Whatever I have seen and understood, this you can assume is an easy version of CR, RC, basic quant, basic reasoning, that means logical reasoning skills, that is arrangement, and very basic calculation skills, that means data interpretation. The only thing is very easy compared to what you get. The biggest challenge in this section, as I have seen, is only reading. So GMAT has actually virtually introduced one more RC section, trust me, it is not maths. It looks math, all of this looks math. If you see anything, once you solve you will realize this section is all about reading, not so much about your quantitative skills. Your idea of ratio, terms, percentage, fraction, decimal, basic arithmetic should be very good. Okay, speed and distance, general idea about math, area of circle, area of rectangle, all those very basic things about math should also be there. But predominantly you would see 70-80% of your success will depend on your reading comprehension skills and not on anything else in this. You are given an on-screen calculator also. You may use it whenever it's required, so don't guess. If you feel you can guess, even then don't guess. You should just not guess. The numbers could be very close sometimes. That is why the calculator is given to you. So there is no point guessing. There are 4 types of questions that will come, 3 questions of each type. So the first type is called the graph part, graph question. Second, you have a table type of problem. Third is called two-part analysis, and fourth is called multi-source reasoning. Very easy, all of these. Now a particular question may have 3 questions also within itself, 3 sub questions or 2 sub questions. You have to get all of them right to get marks. Okay, if I say true false and you have A, B and C, 3 statements given to you. This could be true, this could be false, this could be false. If this is the answer, you will get marks only when all 3 are correctly answered by you. Partially correct answers don't merit anything. So that makes it a little difficult maybe. You just have to be careful in this case. So graph, we'll see questions of each type. According to me, questions are fairly easy if you can understand them. The only challenge is whether we can understand those questions in the stipulated time or not. There is no need to panic because all of us can finish this section even without a calculator comfortably. If something panics you, something says that okay, it's very difficult, give yourself 5 extra minutes, there is no dearth of time. Try to understand what is written, that's the only skill that I have seen. Once again, reading skill, according to me, is the only thing that is being tested in this. The level of math, the level of reasoning, the level of data interpretation is that of a 5th grader. The level of reading skills required is much higher. So this is the approach required. We will take up all types of questions one by one in this. So some questions initially are based on graphs up to, let's say, question number 6. So let's see. Please solve question number 1 in the next 2 minutes. You can easily solve it in 2 minutes. So take your time and let's see how to approach this. Yeah, so it's absolutely no problem. You should still be able to answer. Okay, because of some problem here in the printing, they've been hidden. Otherwise, it will be easy. On the next page, I think you have been given those. Okay. Alright, so you will be given a drop down option in this. You have to select from the drop down. Right now it will not work, obvious reasons. Now what is reason? Under the assumption that curves shown continue in the same general shape beyond the plotted area. So every line, let's continue beyond the plotted area. That's what the point is here. Now what is the first question is, at 60 degree most soluble chemical, at 60 what is the topmost? Yeah, Ki. Oh, did you not extend this line? Extend this line also. You may forget because it is a very small line. Everything else you will extend, I am sure, because after 60 degree, you should extend this. So at 60 degree, Ki will be the highest, and so Ki here. There is most likely a temperature above 100 degree at which NH4Cl is exactly as soluble. So increase this also. We can very clearly see they will meet somewhere. So KClO3 here. We can imagine a question like this. What is being checked here? Nothing, in fact, frankly. I don't think any skill is being checked, except that can you spend 2 minutes on this problem. I think that's. So beyond that, hardly anything. Let's see some more problems. So look at number 2. Should be able to solve it easily. your question should read this. Just make sure your handout is this one, because some of you may be having another, I don't know if that's the mix up or something, because there was, I hope all of you have this only, this handout only. Just make sure. Okay. Your question 2 should be this circle diagram. Make sure. Okay. Or else you may change it, please change it, because the order will be a big problem. For you also it was a problem. Anybody else, just go change your handouts in that case. Done. So let's see what this question is asking you. You have enough time to solve this. You will take more time as well. If I say refer to the pictograph of survey students of Central Community College, each symbol represents 10 students in a sample of 300. Use the drop down menus to complete each statement according to the information presented. If one student is selected at random from the 300 surveyed, the chance that the student will be under 30. Now this is, when I say under 30, I am not supposed to take this area, or I am supposed to take this area. So I can take this and this, but it's or here or and here, or a high school graduate. Now high school graduate is, I can't take this area. Initially I could not have taken this and this. Now I want no high school diploma, so I want a high school graduate. So what all areas can I take now? This I can take now, and this I can take. So what is the only area that I cannot take in this case? The central part? You agree? Okay, one more time, because this is something that one has to understand correctly. Because it is or, that means both are absolutely independent. So under 30 is this also and this also. So let's remove these two areas for the time being. Or a high school graduate, that means I don't have to bother about this part which is already taken. This is no high school diploma, that means I can take this part and this part. Finally, what all parts are allowed and what all parts are not allowed, you can just check finally. So the only thing that I cannot take is this. Okay, this is the only not allowed area. This contains how many symbols? 5 out of 30. That is 1 by 6 is not allowed part. So the allowed part should be 5 by 6 is my answer for the first one, the drop down. If I look at the second statement, one student is selected at random from the 300 surveyed, chance that will be both under 30 and a high school graduate. Now here the difference is and or what is and. You can just see that's a major difference. So under 30 and a high school graduate. This is 30 and over, this is no high school graduate, so that means this is what is desirable here? Only the outside part of it. So this is non-desirable, 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 this is the desirable part. How many does it contain? 10. 10 on 30, 1 by 3 is my answer for the second part. If you have a doubt anywhere, please raise it and tell me what the problem is, if at all. Okay, I'll explain it again. All these questions are real GMAT questions because they are taken from GMAT Prep software's add-on purchase, because there is a purchase you can make. So I have not taken GMAT Prep actual questions, because once you attempt a mock test you should not see the same questions. But there is an add-on package that you can take, and I have taken it from there. So each question actually represents a real GMAT question. Where to solve it from for extra practice, that I will also tell you. As of now, this is what. Any doubt here? Anyone having any concerns? moving on, let's see. Take some time. This question will take you more time, so take about 3 to 4 minutes and solve this graph, please. So do you have some answers or some idea about what we are supposed to do or something, or the detail? What are the answers, if at all anyone who's got this? First is how much? 25, 385, all three answers I've got. Something wrong is definitely there. Okay, how about the second one? Okay, I think you need to understand what is written here in terms of this. You will realize this entire graph is a test of your reading skill and nothing else. There is no math in this graph, absolutely no math. Looks really intimidating. So, whatever is given here is the Precambrian part, and these are the parts of Precambrian. And the graph moves, this is the oldest or this is the latest, what is it? Remember that also, because we are talking about back in time, from back in time to now, that is what. Then this part right now from here to here has been broken, has in fact been magnified. So this part was what? Basically what was the name of this part, whatever is written here? That part has been actually expanded on this scale. This part, so Mesozoic is also here and this Paleozoic is also here. It has been expanded, and within Mesozoic whatever was there within Paleozoic. After that this Cenozoic had these two parts, this Cenozoic has been expanded. This part and this part. Right. So the second and the third graph are basically magnifications of a strip of the first graph and the second graph respectively. Read the entire question again, let's see. Diagram shows in 3 column groupings various divisions of Earth's geological history since its formation approximately 4,600 million years ago. Leftmost grouping, the Precambrian Aeon, is subdivided into this on the far left. So Precambrian on the far left, this and this. Otherwise in the rest of the graphic, each subsequent column to the right shows the subdivisions of time frame to its left. This magnification scale. Subdivision of that. So Mesozoic also was divided into so many of them. Paleozoic was divided into all that is the point in this case. Each of the rightmost 2 column groupings is a magnification with additional information of a portion of the grouping to its left. So this second column is just a magnification of some part of the first column, and third column is a magnification of some part of the second column. This is the meaning. Is that clear? Whatever is written here. Now let's see, the Miocene epoch spans closest to whatever percent of the era of which it is a part. If I look at Miocene and which era it is a part, you have to say era. Era is the second column. The second column has been expanded here, Cenozoic. So Cenozoic era has actually been expanded on this, you can very clearly see that. What is the general length of the Cenozoic era from what? What is the length? So 65 million years is the length of Cenozoic, out of which roughly how much is Miocene? No, it is starting from 5 to 22 and a half or something. So 17 to 18, can I say? 17 to 18 out of 65 is approximately what percent? 3 or 85 or 25? Approximate percentage. Okay. So the era here is Cenozoic, which is 65, and Miocene out of that is 17 to 18. 17 to 18 out of 65 is approximately 25%. We are not bothered because the numbers are so spaced apart, and that's exactly what we needed to do. Now let's see. According to the diagram, the beginning of what marks the onset of an eon, era and period. So I'll have to check where all. This is only eon and era. So first column is not the one that I should look at. This is period and epoch. Third column is also not the one that I look at. So this contains eon, era and period. But suppose I look at, let's say, Jurassic. Jurassic is just the start of a period, but not the start of an era or an eon. Where does this line cut all of these 3 columns? Let's see this one. So the starting of Cambrian, or this will be end of Cambrian? What do you think? Reverse scale, remember. This will be starting or ending? What kind of era are we talking about? Geological history, beginning, right? You agree, beginning or end? Beginning of Cambrian or Precambrian? We are talking about, this is the oldest, don't forget that bit. So, this line should be part of all three of them, that's all I am saying. So, AN also starts here, era also starts here, and period also starts here. So, what should I say, Cambrian or Precambrian? Because this entire thing is Precambrian then. Cambrian. The beginning of Cambrian era would go from here to here, whatever it is. 4,600 million years ago to, let's say, 4,000 million years ago. For 600 million years, this existed. So this will be the beginning or the end? This should be clear to me. This is the beginning of Cambrian. From that, if I look at, you are asked beginning or end? Beginning only. So Cambrian and 25% should be my answers. Tell me what level of math is involved and reasoning is involved in this question. Is it purely about reading skill? There is no reasoning also. If you understand the graph, it's only about the reading skill. So you can see what I was talking about is really correct. This, according to me, is just a test of your reading skill. Okay, try question number 4 please. Let's see. You may keep your calculators handy on your cell phones if you want. Just calculate. If you need, you can always use calculators. So if you want to calculate the arithmetic mean, let's see how to get this. What are the approximate answers here? For the first one, if you second option or the third option, some of you say. Okay, let's see. It's very easy the way we are supposed to do. For which all ages do I need to find? 12 to 30. So this is a period of 19 years. 1 to 11 would be 11 years and the remaining 19 years. Can I say approximation wise this is just a straight line? This much portion. In fact, this entire portion can be approximated to a straight line. Can I say that? Approximate. What is the middle point of this straight line? 3000. 900 and 5100 is 6000. So midpoint is, anyway you can see the midpoint of this straight line. So I can say 3000 is the weight for how many years? From where? 12 to 20. That is for 9 years. Approximate value of the average I am talking about. Now from the next year 22 onwards, this is 21, so 22 onwards I can say this is almost a straight line again. What is the value of this approximately? 5500 can I say? Approximate. How many years will there be from 21 to 30? 10 years. So 5500 into 10 divided by 19 years. If you have the calculator you can actually find out. If you don't want you can just approximate and tell me. 3000 into 9 only and 5500 into 10, the average will be above 4000 or below 4000? So this is my answer. This has to be my answer. Above 4000. If you want you may calculate also. It's totally up to you to calculate. 19, yeah.
From say 17 years to 20 years, which is the more than 50% of the duration, the rate was more than 4,000.
From 17 to, you can say that, that's also perfect.
50% of duration is something is more.
Absolutely right, no problem. Just make sure this should not be just a steep slope in that case. Could be the only problem, depending on the slope of this. But yeah, you are okay with it. But it's a question that you should never get wrong because it's asking you hardly anything. The next thing, the percentage change from 12 to 16 is equal to the what value? So 12 to 16, what is the percentage change? You can just find out. 900 and 3000. So percentage change is the final value minus initial value by initial value into 100. This is how I'll calculate it. So 3000 minus 900 by 900 into 100. It is the first percentage change. Is what is how many times? That means this divided by what value? What is the value approximately here? 5100. 5100 minus 3000 by 3000 into 100 again. This will cancel. This will also cancel. 3000 by 900 is roughly the value. So that's 3 times. Most of you I am sure will not need the formula or anything. Will say okay, from here to here is approximately 3 times. That means what percent? 200%. This is around 60% or something, 60, 70%. 200 by 70 is around 3 times. That's how I would have done it. What percent growth is there from 900 to 3000? More than 200? More than 200%. And here it is around 60, 70%. So 200 by 60, 70 is approximately 3. That's how I would have, I don't need to write anything frankly. Even if calculators are given for this question, you don't need any calculator. If you want, you can surely use this, no problem. Okay. Question number 5, please check. So all you are given is one thing can lead to the other, and okay, now here I'm sure you got the answers also. It's something so easy, I'm sure. So you are asked, you want to achieve what? Let's see, you want to achieve, other than increasing rate of competitiveness, another way to improve customer satisfaction. Now this is what you want to achieve, but you don't want this. So how else can you get this? By improving customer management process, but that also is not given to you. But so how is customer management process achieved? Either you knowledge of customers or knowledge of CRM. Knowledge of customers is not given, so knowledge of CRM leads to this, this leads to this. So my answer is knowledge of CRM. This is how easy this question can be. I am sure on quant or verbal section you won't call it even a 200 level problem. So the next thing you are asked, neither marketing nor customer management process could be improved. Then you want net income, improving knowledge of what? So you want net income. Alright, perfect. The governance would be the only answer. You want to improve net income, but you can't improve marketing and you can't improve, what all can you not improve, sir? Customer management process, so you can't improve this. If you want to still reach net income, so this one, then this one, this one. So governance leads to this, this leads to this, this leads to this. So governance could be my answer and knowledge of CRM could be my answer. So this was graphic analysis. You must have understood these are all very easy types of problems. We'll move on to question number 7, which is about table analysis. There's one more graph, I'm skipping that just to explain what to do. You can just, and I'll send you the detailed solutions anyway. In a table analysis part, if there are 2 or 3 or parts of a question, you have to answer all the parts to get the answer. Very simple. On the test day, this table will also be sortable. Right now the sorting is not possible. So you can select and sort the table in any order you want. Okay, just check these questions. Question number 7, 8, 9 and okay, 3 problems here. All 3 check together. I'll discuss these questions then. You may use the calculator if you need, please. Are you able to match your answers with these? Just once you have solved, you can just check these, please. Okay, so for the first question, you are supposed to calculate the ratio of art architecture history overall is this number. So France value is 780 by 1173 and the other value is what? Netherlands. So Netherlands value is 498. Okay, please make sure you calculate on a calculator because these numbers can be a little deceptive. Whenever such a situation comes, because it is given to you, use that thing. So you can see whether it is coming right or wrong. I don't have to tell you, but this should be true. You just find out. So the France ratio is higher, you can check that. There is no point doing your own guesswork in some parts. So please make sure you calculate. So this value should be higher. Question 2, ratio of public to private museums is greatest for Estonia. Anyway, it is greatest for which number? If you look at Croatia, 220 slash, so it is false. Sorry, that means this is the answer. And there is a positive correlation between number of public museums and number of visitors per year. To calculate positive correlation, you have to just say whenever one increases, the other also increases generally. So there are more direct proportion points or more inverse proportion points. What would you see here? More points. Direct proportion doesn't mean exact value. One increases, the other increases. So if I say increase, then it's positive correlation. Decrease, then it's positive correlation. Increase, negative correlation. Decrease, negative correlation. So suppose there are 10 points. If more than 5 are positive correlation, then we say overall positive. So whatever the number of data points here, are they positively correlated or negatively? Let's see that thing. Public museums and visitors, right? This is the ratio you want, public museums and visitors. So 203 and the value is this much, 220 it drops. So this is a negative point. Let's cut this, one negative. When it is 163, did it drop from there or not? So this is positive point, this is positive point. 1053 again increase, positive point. 615 less, so it is again a positive point, this also became less. When this increased, 713, this also increased, positive. 973, this also again increased, positive. 960, it decreased a little, so this also decreased. In whatever proportion, it's okay. From 973 to 960, there is a decrease, so is there a decrease overall? So I hardly find any non-correlated kind of points. Basically this is what, so overall correlation will be called positive here. It is not direct proportion. If you see, this is how we plot the scatter plot and then we see the line of best fit. Okay. So if this is my line, I can have most points around this line. If this is positive correlation. Most of the points are around that mark. I don't have to get an exact value for positive correlation. It's not direct proportion. Is that fine? No, always a positive correlation also means this. Yeah, always will always be wrong in this case because you can't say. Yeah, you sort the table, so on the test day you will have the liberty to sort it. Wherever it is, I don't think overall number of points will be positively correlated or negative. Okay, more towards direct proportion, more towards inverse, you tell me that. Is it more towards direct proportion or more towards inverse proportion? No, don't look at the increase is 10 and that side increase is 10,000. This is not how we look at correlation. If one increases, does the other also increase? That's it. If one decreases, does the other also decrease? That's what we call positive correlation. It is not like, okay, y is equal to 3x, so they are directly correlated. This is not the way we solve correlation. 203 and? So that's what I'm saying. All the points need not be related. All of them. More than half the points are positively correlated. It's positive correlation. This is how you solve for positive correlation. Okay, I still would want to know what your doubt is.
The way you have related is basically the ordering of the table is fine.
Okay, let's order the table. What would be the smallest number?
No, assuming if we just order by the visitors, just order by the visitors.
Sorted by the visitors, perfectly fine.
So Spain gets the top spot.
Yeah,
Just 973.
yeah.
Second comes France, so that there is a negative correlation because the number of people by the visitors.
All right.
Then after that you will go to Netherlands.
Mm-hmm.
They will get a positive compared to
You will get overall more positive points than negative points, whichever way you are in. Overall, you will get more positive points.
because my point of the answer like it might vary.
No, it wouldn't. You can just do that. You can do that thing. It wouldn't vary. You can just actually do that thing. Your final answer will not change. You'll have more points in which increase or decrease are together, and less points in which the exception is there. So straightforward, if more than 50% of the points are increase type or decrease type, then it is a positive correlation. That's it. Yeah.
In this table, how many data points would we count? I would say the first one is not a data point, right?
Yeah, you can start from wherever you want. So data point is not, yeah.
Because more than 50% of the cases, we need to have a
One particular thing should be fixed, and around that we should be calculating.
first one will not be
Yeah, see, I'm telling you, this is not the way the exam is going to ask you all this. The point is to get a general idea. Do you understand data, whether it's positively or negatively correlated? What would you say for most data points, when the number of public museums increases, roughly the number of visitors also increases, more or less? Can I say that? For most of the data points. That's it. This is how you are supposed to solve it. The other way is that you actually do the data analysis, find out coefficient of correlation in statistics as we have done it. There is no point, it will come out positive. Overall it will not come out 1, it may come out even 0.1, even that is positive. If you remember, r equal to 1 is called direct proportion. Perfect correlation, it's in fact y equal to x line. But this is not the way usually correlation will happen. Correlation will have scatters. So if most of my scatter is around this line, most of it, some of them below, some of them above, then it's positive correlation. If most of my scatter is around this line, then it is negative correlation. This is how it works. So coefficient of correlation can be 0.1 also positive, then also it is called positive correlation. I don't have to get the correlation coefficient as 1 only, if you remember what I am talking about. You don't remember, it's perfectly fine, there is no need to do all this right now. Okay. Question number 8 is pretty straightforward. I don't think I need to explain anything here. It's the easiest thing that you can ever get. So what are the answers? Yes, no and yes?
if you enter it out. The first one if you calculate you get 803.25 and the actual value is 802. So it is there.
How do you calculate the median? Just arrange in the fifth value. How many values are these? Okay, median, not mean depth. Sorry, sir. So calculations are not required. Just arrange these in ascending order, and whichever is the middle value is the value. Okay. Now lake whose depth is greatest also has shoreline of greatest length. Wrong. Greatest will be which one? This one. And shoreline greatest is this one. So wrong. Volume of Lake Superior is greater than the other 4 lakes combined. You can just do the math. Fine. Yes or no? Yes, here. Right? Okay, fine. Moving on. This is the other table. Let's solve how to get this. Take 1 or 2 more minutes if you want, but let's get the right answers to this one. So for the first statement, because this is the first rank of production and which is 21%, so rank 1 itself is 21%, that means no country apart from this is greater than 21%. So no individual country produces more than 1/4, means more than 25%. Should be? Yes. If the first rank of production is 21%, no country alone can produce 25% or more. So it's perfectly correct. Next thing, if Brazil produces, now here it is produces, remember, 20% supply is less than 20%, and here it is top exporters. Here, what is the rank of export here? And it is 16 itself. Again, export rank is 1 and 15. So it is false or not? Alright. Now remember, it is production and export, so don't mix up the two. Okay, of the commodities in the table for which Brazil ranks first in exports, produces more than 20%. Same question actually. I think they didn't know how to make the third question, so they've copied the second question. I am sure this is what they've done. Again false as per this. Alright, it's pretty straightforward. The next category of questions is called two-part analysis. And which you are supposed to get the answer by the two columns that will be given to you. You have to choose one in each column. So when you choose both the answers, then only you will get marks. I will write down which all you will attempt here. Let's see. So please solve question number 10, then 11 also. Okay, so leave out a few questions in between. 16, 17, 18 are absolutely repetitive, so I am leaving out. Solve 10 to 15 and then 19th. Let's see. The first one, did you get the right answers? S by E and 60 by E. So what you're given is, what is the speed here? In the first case, speed is S, the time is 1 hour. So S is the speed, 1 hour is the time, distance will be S, and I need E kilometers per liter. So to go a distance of S, I'll need S by E liters. Okay, if my distance is, let's say, 60 and I have an average of 10 kilometers per liter, I'll obviously need 60 by 10, that is 6 liters. So my average itself is E kilometers per liter. Just distance divided by average should give me the number of liters. That's it, straight answer. So S by E, and in the next case, what is my distance? 60. So 60 by E. This question should not take you more than 1 minute. It's as easy as that. If I want to know what liters or how many liters I am spending, in that case, all I have to do distance divided by the average efficiency, fuel efficiency, as you call it, fuel economy, whatever you call it, we call it average in our normal language. So the two selections are very easy to make here. Let's see the next problem. Any doubt, anyone? Any concerns? So if you have not read it, just read the argument first. Let's see what it is. Then we'll have a discussion. Okay, if I look at this problem now, there are two things given to you in 11. They should study not only the courtship displays of many different individuals within a species. So this will happen within that location or not? Courtship displays of many different individuals, that means gathering together will definitely happen. So this part should happen in the location called Murefa, that imaginary location. And you are given, they have abandoned the area, that means Murefa, to establish their nests. So nest formation does not happen within that area. This is pure RC, I don't think there is any reasoning involved in this. You read and you answer, that's it. I don't think I need to explain anything. Very easy if you can understand what is written. Any doubt here, please? If they have abandoned their area to establish their nests, nest formation or establishing nests will not happen in the location. And if I say courtship displays of many different individuals within a species, that means they should actually gather. So gathering together with members of their own species must happen in that location. Alright, so this is pretty straightforward. If you can just read and understand, that is the only challenge. Let's see the next problem. So are you able to get to the answers? Pretty straightforward. You are given perimeter is equal to 2 times length plus w, that is the formula for any perimeter. So length, if you find out, it will be p by 2 minus w, that is your answer, length. And if you want area is length into width, length is p by 2 minus w into w, that's it. This question overall should take you, I think, anywhere from 30 to 50 seconds max. The GMAT won't ask this question even at 200 level, I'm sure. In the quant section it won't be asked. Very, very easy, hardly anything in this. So such questions are also asked, you can see. Solve the next problem, 13 please, let's see. Okay, so are you able to get the answers very easily? You are basically told that right now in this case there are 3 females, in this case there are 2 females. On the second day you need 4 females. There is no restriction for the first day about the gender of this. Also you already have 2 French, so you should not take next one more French. And you want a non-English type of speaker of the writer. So either day female, Japanese, Japan should be possible, and male and English should not be possible. Can you see that clearly? On the other day you want to have at least 4 of them will be women, so you can definitely have this possibility one of the days for sure. So a female can still be included, 4 of them, that means it has to be a female. The next thing is it should not be French, so in that case you can just see, is there any other option with French? Yeah. So it cannot be French, that's why this is the only option that you are left with. and neither day it should be a male first of all, that is what cannot really be included necessarily. It should be English, right, the language should be English, and that's it. Any doubt in this one?
But day 2 it is at it is at least then there should be 4 females, right?
Yeah, no, it's not day 2 4 females. One of the days or day 2? One of the days and the other day. Other day can be the first day also. And the
At least 4 females means like this for a long flow can also be the
no, but you are given either day means both days it should be possible for this.
neither day.
Neither day, yeah, Longfellow is there, right? Male, English, that should give you the answer anyway. I'm not sure what you're asking still.
They should not belong to the same country.
No. You're given that French, already 2 of them are there. And here 2 of them are already English. Alright. So I should not take English, I should not take male because of the same reasons. What would not fit in both the days is this, clearly. Now which part is it violating, please tell me. Any concerns or you're fine? Alright. Let's see the next problem. So you can see how easy this problem can be in critical reasoning if it comes. You are given that red and white striped pottery was found there, and that is usually used exclusively for personal food storage. Will it strengthen the fact that it is used for residential function? That's what. And you are given that residential buildings always had multiple rooms, and this is only one room, so this will be weakening. Right. Next, you can just see one more type of problem in critical reasoning type, in which you have 2 such propositions. So if I look at this, you are given the most effective way. Is this a questionable thing or not? It may be one of the ways. So it is written, therefore government regulations to reduce consumption would be the most effective way. Maybe the most effective way would be that they stop selling altogether, or people stop eating it altogether, or whatever, exercise or 100 things possible. So the most effective way is the questionable part. So let's see Ashish's argument. What is the flaw? So confuses two distinct meanings, cannot contribute to more than one, overlooks the possibility, contributes, may not be the main such factor. So this is also a possible thing, but may not be the main thing. This looks to be a Nokia answer, and this guy is talking complete nonsense compared to what he is supposed to talk about. Your conclusion is incorrect. If you say your conclusion is incorrect, then you should say something related to this argument. Everyone should be free to consume whatever food they wish. This is not at all related to the argument that is given before. So I think this is irrelevant. So I guess this and this will be your answers. Would you have chosen these only? Yeah. Any other answer choice? This is totally irrelevant, and this person is saying only the most effective way. Is definitely not necessary that's the most effective way, main such factor. Any doubt on this one? Please tell me. Any other part? First one, A. Assumes without justification that a stated problem can have only one solution. No, not at all. This is not what he is saying. Only one solution, or most effective way, or the only effective way? What is this? What is written? Only or most? There is a big difference between only effective way and most effective. Had it been only effective way, then maybe we would have considered that one. Alright. Come to 19th please. 16, 17, 18 you may leave there similar problems. So let's see one more type of problem here. Finished one. Easy. 4. Solve 19th problem, please, not this one. You done already with that? Okay. So once again I think it's a test of your basic reading skills only. There is hardly any math involved in this, hardly any logic involved, pure reading skills. Let's see. If he takes less than 10 minutes to prepare or more than 25 minutes to prepare, his rating will be directly -5, and you are here given the greatest work readiness rating. So you would want the rating to be the greatest possible. We'll start with a possibility of 9 then, because 10 is not given. So that means even if he wants to achieve a rating of 9, he has to lose 1 point. How can he lose 1 point? So at least 4 snoozes or 1 snooze. So first snooze he will lose 4 minutes, second again 4 minutes, third again 4 minutes, and fourth again 4 minutes. So right now he has lost 16 minutes. So out of 40 minutes he has 24 minutes to get ready. Is it lying in this range or no problem at all? So less than 10 he will lose, greater than 25 he will lose. So right now -5 does not happen. If he is spending 24 minutes, in that case what will be his rating? 9 is his rating. Because with the 4th snooze he will lose 1 rating. So with 4 snoozes his rating can be 9. These are your answers. Purely a work of reading. I think hardly anything in this that one cannot solve. You just have to read it correctly. So 2-part interpretation is usually the easiest of all 4 according to me. Just read and answer. There is another part called multi-source reasoning. It will be something like this. There will be this given to you. Let's say this is email number 1 from someone. There is another email number 2, let's say, and email number 3. You click on this one, this will read something. Email from director of personnel to the business manager, email 2 from business manager to the director of personnel, email 3 from CEO to the client, something. There will be a lot of data given to you, all text or text plus table or text plus graph. Anything can be there. So a lot of data, because if you click 1, 2 and 3 you will get this. It could be 2 clicks or 3 clicks. So this is the tough part usually, because you have to read a lot first of all. So there is a lot of reading involved. And the second part, yes, it's more difficult because you are synthesizing data from 2 or 3 sources, and that's why multi-source reasoning will have 3 to 4 questions on one set only. So far we have seen 1 question per graph, 1 question per table, 1 question per data set. Right now you will have 3 to 4 questions per data set. So let's do this, and the next 6 questions are based on the given to you data in the next part. 20 to 25. You just change the numbering because it is, I think, given from 22 to 27. Just change it to 20 to 25 because that's the numbering. And this is the data from prospector. This is the data from environment scientist. If you click here on the test, you will get only this para. If you click here, you will get the other para. Please solve this in, it will take you some while because there are 6 questions based on it. Let's see how it goes. Alright, I think you should be able to answer it by now. Let's see how to go. Question number 20 as renumbered. So you're given this particular gold mine is the largest gold mine in the world. So more likely it is which one? Placer or lode? Lode mine. For each of the following select implied and so on and so forth. Chemicals are used to extract gold from this. Chemicals are used in lode mines or not? Lode, no. Used to extract. That is why it causes environmental damage. Yes or no? Why are environmental damages caused more by lode mines? Because a lot of chemicals are used. Is it written somewhere or not?
Yes.
So it is implied. Now this mine processes approximately 130 kg. That 130 kg is the average value or for all the mines? But I cannot say average value is applicable to all of them. Some will be higher, some will be lower. So this is the answer, not implied. And this was located adjacent to a river. All which mines are supposed to be the riverbed mines? The placer ones. So this is also false. Most probably. Okay. Sorry, one by one. Could be true is not the point. It is not implied. Average value is 130 kilograms. That means of all the mines taken in the world or in America, whatever it is, I think in the world, this is the average value. But some mines must be less, some mines must be more. I cannot say it is implied. No way.
Including its load because it's the largest mine.
Yeah. So what is the... It cannot be a placer mine. Normally, see, that is why they are saying implied, not implied. Not correct, incorrect. A placer mine, usually the large mines are lode mines, and this is the largest in the world. So most likely a lode mine, not placer mine. Okay, the next question 21 has renumbered. Each of the following select justifies as justifiable inference. Each lode deposit is located on a river upstream. So lode deposits are not really supposed to be near or something, or river is anyway out, and each is too strong a word, so definitely not justified. Some lode deposits were created by placer deposits. The other way around or this? So clearly the other way around, wrong answer. And placer deposits are likely to be located within the paths of present or former rivers because they are in the river beds, the sedimentation happens. So yes. So lode ones are nothing to do with river, and placer ones have everything to do with the river bed or river. So most likely these are the right answers, justified and not justified. Let's see, question number 22 renumbered. Which of the following questions concerning the time passes was written does the information provided supply? Clearest answer. Look at D. What were the principal forms of environmental damage attributable to mining placer deposits? What are the two damages written there? I didn't hear you at all. What is it? Habitat destruction and sediment release. So you have these two exact answers given to you. No other answer is directly given to you. If you have any other answer that is directly mentioned in the passage, please tell me. Which are the two primary and principal can be the same words, damages. This is what is given to you. Okay, question number 23 renumbered. Let's see. Yes, according to the information provided, if it is accurate, or else no. Placer deposits are larger or lode deposits? So obviously no here. Mining placer deposits sometimes has environmental impacts beyond habitat because it is written primary or principal. There must be others. Obviously, so yes. Gold production of placer deposit makes only a few percent. It's true up to here. Primarily due to increased quantities of gold being produced from lode deposits, not given to you. It is shorter because on the surface direct gold. So placer ones are reducing or gold lode ones are increasing. What is given? No, lode ones are increasing percentage wise. Number wise, lode is decreasing is not given to you. Placer is decreasing. Load is increasing or not is not. Percentage wise load would increase, but not number wise. We don't know that bit. Placer deposits are decreasing in value, the number itself, and that's why this is happening. Okay, next problem, 24th number. Now this question is a little tricky. It is not whether it is supported information or not. Does it contain an evidence supporting this? Read the question. If you did not read the question very clearly, you will mark all of them as supported. Let's see now. Each of the following claims appears in environmental scientist's passage. Select supported if the scientist cites specific evidence to support the claim. Otherwise, not support. So this is given to you in the passage, but does it have any evidence why or how or something? Operation mining a load deposit process approximately 130 kg. It's not coming how it is 130, what quantity. Modern commercial placer deposit mining operations tend to use settling ponds. There is no evidence given to do this. Modern load deposit mines are massive operations. Is this substantiated? Like 180,000 tons and so on. This definitely gives some extra data, so it is supported by some evidence. How will I know they are massive operations? So there has to be some data to support it. Now 180,000 tons of raw ore is a huge amount of raw ore. So definitely there. The next question. Question number 25 renumbered. Suppose that a mine is established on a load deposit that contains ore with 20 times the average proportion of gold to ore. What is the proportion of gold to ore normally? 1 gram to 130 kg. You want it 20 times gold to ore, so it should be 20 grams to 130 kg. Now you want to make 100 tons of this. So you can find out how many kgs or how many tons are required. 130 kg is what? 0.13 tons. So for 100 tons what is required, you can get that value. And then per day what is the maximum operations? 180. So whatever is required divided by 180,000, you will get the answer. 3 to 4 days you are getting. It's the easiest question you can get. It's more like ratio proportion problem. Very, very easy problem ratio. So 1 to 130 was the ratio. Now it is 20 to 130. That means 20 grams and 130. So 1 gram will need 6.5 kg of ore. Basically that is the equation. From 1 gram you want 100 tons. We can actually convert it. It's very, very easy to convert. So what will be the conversion now? How many metric tons will this become? 1 gram is 6.5 kg. So let's say 100 grams first of all is 650 kg. Or let's say 1000 grams. 1 kg will be how much? How many grams? 1000. So if I multiply this by 1000, 6500 kg, that means how many tons? 6.5 tons. Now 1 ton will be how much? That means multiplied by 1000. So 6500 tons. Or 6. How much will this become? You can just find that out. And after that all you have to do is, what is the rate that you want? So very clearly you can get that thing. So what will be the answer basically? You can just see 65 by 18 kind of ratio, 180, whatever the number of zeros and whatever the number of zeros. What are you trying to divide finally? 65 by 18. So what is the value? Greater than 3 and less than 4. Clearly that is the answer. So you should be able to get this answer. This is the only numerical question out of the 6 questions. The remaining 5 questions are totally qualitative, verbal basically, hardly any quantitative. And quant also is just ratio proportion that you can solve anytime, I'm sure. So this gives you a very strong overview of integrated reasoning. What all to practice now? Let's see very clearly. So OG13 came up with an online supplement. You don't have to get that supplement, I will send you that. 50 questions are there in that. That is one thing. Okay, GMAT prep extra collection, that is what you are solving right now. You have 39 questions in this, you can solve this. And the other question set that I sent earlier, maybe you got this or not with this batch, it has got 72 questions. It's absolutely enough for you to practice whatever is required. Don't obsess over this topic. Whatever happens, you will do it on the test day only. This is just to give you a general idea, and I'm sure it's good enough for all of this. Did you receive this set initially? 72 questions to practice with. I think it must be given to. The remaining I will send you, and the solutions are also there for all of them. So you can just check. Detailed solutions are also there. Should be possible. On one of the other days, we will take up the idea about analytical writing and how to write that argument essay. Today we will continue with coordinate geometries discussion that was remaining, if you have any doubts or something. So this is what we had to discuss in integrated reasoning.